Hi. Somebody asked me in the comments somewhere on one of the platforms for advice about legal careers. What if somebody wants to become a constitutional lawyer? I think that was the question. What if someone wants to become a constitutional lawyer? Like you, Ron. Not like me. A real constitutional lawyer. Is it a good idea to go to law school to try to do that? What's the deal? It's a very, very hard question to answer. It always was, by the way, but I think it's more of one now because those of us who do practice in this area find it very, very frustrating. I recently heard a very experienced lawyer explain to a new client, we used to be able to give people who came to us with litigation, asking us to file a lawsuit on their behalf, a sort of reasonable estimate of the chances of success, not because you can predict what judges and juries can do, or what the other side might do, or what secrets there might be that have not been uncovered, but you do the legal research and you estimate what are the odds of success, what are courts generally saying here. And what we've found over the last few years is that, some of you have heard me say this before, this was something I copied off someone else's email. Another lawyer said it. The federal courts now are in a state of they're psychopathic. They're out of their minds. You just don't know. Everything depends on the politics of the judge and what the other judges are doing. And you can avoid going into a massive debt to pay for it. And right now, I think it is a pretty good time to apply for law school because they're offering packages. And if you're a good writer, you're a good thinker, you know where you want to go, it could still be worth it. And I'd hate to think that people aren't going to come to the profession and take the place of those of us who are closer to the end and to the beginning of our careers. It's worth looking into. What does that mean? If you're still in college, or you're about to start college, you're going to want to choose your major wisely. If you're very confident you want to go to law school, then you can change your mind, and you should seriously consider changing your mind at any point along the way. It is more important that you find a major that you're really interested in the topic and that you can do well in, because that will help your chances of getting into a very good law school. You want to get a lot of writing and reading practice. That'll help you on the LSAT and also in law school and after law school. Your writing should be as good as possible. You go to a very good law school, and I'm just going to abstract, by the way, in this short presentation from the question of the whole world of academia, of higher education getting woke and being insane, which it is. We know that. But the better universities tend to be less affected by this as a practical matter, even though they say things, they don't so much do things that are really stupid, and all the more so professional schools. I'm going to just not get into that now. Let's assume that it's a tolerable situation. Big assumption. It's a big assumption that you have to make because if you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to law school. Should you want to be a lawyer? I wrote a book called The Princeton Review PreLaw Companion about 20-something years ago. I'm pretty sure it's out of print, but you can get it on Amazon. Princeton Review PreLaw Companion. It's a little bit outdated, but the general concepts of looking into what your strengths are and what lawyers do and really reckoning with whether or not you want to go to law school, I think people are still finding useful. Well, it's an easy read. It's fun. I wrote it, right? So how much unfun could it be? So maybe start there. One of the things that used to be attractive about the legal profession was that you had this understanding that you were going to go into an environment where there was a certain amount of intellectual rigor, and you were with people who really use their brains for a living. And there was a certain aspect of meritocracy. I don't want to overstate that. You have to keep in mind that the standards for everything, for every endeavor, for every profession, even the military, all standards have been lowered The judiciary has become immensely lower in quality than it was when I came into the profession 30 years ago. That doesn't mean every judge was good then. It just means that more better people before it and did become judges than is the case now. Lots of reasons for that. There's a lot that's screwed up about the profession. But compared to what? I think if you really want it, you can do it and you can be successful at it. And you want to know, well, if I do want it, if I do want to go to law school and I do want to become a constitutional law lawyer, Ron, how do I do that part? So I've spoken long enough for this video. I try to keep them short. I'll do another one next week after my haircut and my beard trim. I'll talk about specialization and how it is that people get into specific areas of law or come to terms with not being able to get into the area of law that they prefer because they're too hot or they just don't hit the right notes in terms of qualifications or background or network or looks. Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about that. And meanwhile, I hope I've got you thinking, and it might be worth picking up the Princeton Review Pre-Law Companion. I don't make any money off it. I'm never going to they're never going to make the advance back on that book. But it's not my fault. It's their fault. They wanted a different book. They wanted a book that would tell you how to get into the best law school. Instead, I wrote a book that made you think about why you wanted to go to law school and what you would do to get into the right law school. Here we are. Anyway, I'm still here, and we'll talk again next week. Thanks. Hey, it's Ron Coleman. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Void word prohibited. Your mileage may vary. All the things.